Hey, this is Troy. Who else is on the call with me? Hello?
Hi, Troy. This is Scott Ratcliffe. How you doing today?
Hey, Scott Ratcliffe. I'm doing great, man. Welcome to the call. Thanks for hopping on here, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Troy. Kevin Jacobson here.
Hey, Kevin. Welcome to the call, bud. How you doing?
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys taking some time out. This is going to be fun. This is what we're calling a ghetto podcast. And just for you guys who do any of this online stuff, it's a great way to do a podcast without having to invest in anything other than freeconferencing.com. So. And we're going to give it a little bit of time here, guys. I know we've got a lot of folks going to hop on. And TedCruz, are you on yet?
Yep, I'm on, Troy.
Hey, Cruz, how are you, bud?
Good. How are you doing today?
It's fabulous, man. I'm a little hopped up on Mucinex, but that should make a fun call.
Absolutely.
How are you guys down there in California?
Pretty good. We just got back from the gym. Just hyped up to do this call today.
Awesome, man. And thanks for taking the time, Cruz. I mean, you guys are slammed busy. It's wild to see you now, man. My God.
Yeah.
See a
no problem.
12-year-old kid turn into an adult. It's kind of interesting, especially now that I've got my own who are doing that.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, I've got two teenage kids that are both driving now, so
oh, wow.
makes it fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Is your dad on?
I think he's supposed to be on right now.
He'll be on. And so, Cruz, what I want to do with this is I'll use this as a podcast. And so what I'll have folks do, not you or your dad, but anybody who's listening in, if you would please just mute your phone. Anybody online, it's not an issue. But if you're calling in from a landline or a cell phone, a landline, who has a landline anymore, then please just mute your phone out so that we don't have any background noise on the call. I have to put it to an editor. Looks like we've got your dad on. Ted, is that you?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
Good.
Fantastic. So, good workout?
Oh, great workout.
Of course, right? So we're going to give it just a couple more minutes. I got some more folks who wanted to hear this live. And, Ted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this through as a podcast. And so anybody listening in, they mute their phones. Now, and also, guys, what I want to do with this call is I want to open the lines up, though. So, as we go along, let me see here. You guys, if you want to, ask a question, why don't you go to my Facebook wall and, in the comments underneath the post where it says the interview with the homeless dude, go ahead and ask your question there, or let me know that, raise your hand, and then unmute yourself, and we'll make sure that you get asked a question to Cruz or Ted as we go, because I know a lot of people are really fired up to hear this story, you guys. So, again, go to my Facebook wall, and the interview with the homeless guy in the comments, just say, I want to ask a question, because I don't remember how on this conference line for you to raise your hand. So that's what we'll do. We're going to give it one more minute, 60 more seconds, and then we'll dive in to the call. So how's the site running, guys? Is it buggy or is it running smooth?
I'll let Cruz answer that one. He handles more of that.
It's really good. It's really nice. Everything's running pretty smoothly. We just got some more data to transfer over, and so about another week we'll be, fully operational. But people are going crazy for it.
Great. That's awesome. I love it. Well, and that's the thing here with I want to give you guys that opportunity to share your company and what you're doing. And, people to get to hear this story. So why don't we go ahead and jump into it, guys? Excuse me, if I have to take a cough break, I'll let you know. But, again, for everybody who's listening in on this, I'm really excited to get to share this story because I've known Ted and Cruz, good Lord, now, Ted, what was it, 99 that you and I met?
Yep. Long time ago.
99. Long time ago. And Ted's a guy, I want him to get to share his backstory because it's a great story. From upstate New York, I'm kind of the peace-loving, hippie guy. Ted's from New York, man, he's rasty. If he wants something, he's going to get it. And he's learned, he's the first to attest to the fact that you're going to pay for an education no matter what. And we both have come up through becoming an entrepreneur through the School of Hard Knocks. And in that process, we've gained individually, what we need to be successful. Ted's story, I think, is just one of the coolest ones I've ever had an opportunity to watch unfold, and at times be a part of that journey with him and Cruz. And he's seen me at my finest, and he's also seen me at my worst. And I've had the opportunity to see his life as well. And I think it's really important that people who are on this entrepreneurial journey understand that the people who really get along in this space are folks who they just keep getting up. They don't listen to what other people say. They have a clear enough vision, and they're okay with continuing to move forward. And one thing I've really learned over the years is that you've got to protect your confidence at all costs. That doesn't mean you sweep under the rug the things that you did wrong. It means that you own those things, you make right, and you move forward in confidence, knowing that you've learned from that experience, and that hopefully we don't make those mistakes again. And so, again, Ted, I've shared with folks a little bit about you. I got you vulnerable without you even knowing it by sharing where you and Cruz were living a few years ago. And can we kind of start there, Ted? Let's kind of start back where this particular chapter of your journey starting with you and Cruz and your four-wheeled home. Can you go ahead and kind of share with that? Go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. And, just even to bring it back just a step further, I had come out to the West Coast and got involved with the company and, was doing quite well. And I worked with Troy, and he saw what was going on, and we just were really disappointed. And it was one of those things where you do well, really well, but then you continually get let down and disappointed by the situations. And so I was out here with my son, and when it started to go real bad, there was just I had enough money to barely survive, but I was in my car, and I would stay with somebody, and me and my son would be in a back room and be giving him $100 a week just to have somewhere to stay, and then that didn't quite work out, so you go to the next place. You're just desperate for a place to stay. And then eventually you just succumb to, hey, let's just stay in the car, save our money, and figure out what we're going to do. And, I really had a passion for the industry, for being an entrepreneur. And Troy knows that. He knows my circumstances. And, I just got an opportunity to speak with some big manufacturers. And, I convinced them that, hey, I would do X, Y, and Z for them. I would sell off some old product they had, like $1 million worth, out of the trunk of my car, if they would give me exclusive rights and do me a few favors. So I ended up doing that, out of the trunk of my car, and then I was able to build up enough money to get in to rent a room for me and my son, and that was a kind of a turning point for me. And I was talking to Troy at that point, and he knows I wanted to really get this company to that next level. I was just still selling out of the trunk of my car at that point. And so he knew the steps my challenges. So, he was trying to lend a hand and give me advice, and we had talked a bunch of times. And, it was just a real struggle. But no matter what came, no matter what happened, I remember walking to the corner store with my son, every day just to kind of get out of the house. And I would tell him, where we're going to be, what's going to happen in the next couple weeks, and where we're going to be in the next year. And I would tell him this thing 10 times a day. And I wasn't telling it to him for him because he was 13. I needed to hear it. I needed to hear it. So I was telling him every day, like 10 times, what was going to happen. And I just believe that no matter what anybody says, if you truly, have the will to make this happen, you can do anything. I mean, really, it's proven, because we went from being, living in the car for 3 months, and the most important thing for me right now is to have money out of the way as an issue, not to worry about money. It's not about the money. It's just about being able to live and enjoy my son and watch him grow up through my business and work with me, and not have to worry about, hey, are we going to be able to eat, or are we going to be able to, have the necessities in life. So that was basically, somewhat my story in a nutshell there.
Well, and with that, Ted, I mean, that's so powerful that, again, knowing you, I remember back in '99, you were very clear. You went right past the M word, millionaire, to I'm going to own $1 billion company. And there's no doubt in my mind that's exactly where you're headed with this. And, that's one of the things, like, so you said something really interesting, and I get it. It's you weren't talking to Cruz per se, you were talking to yourself. And I know you've read all the books you've read. You've been to the seminars. I know hundreds of them, actually done seminars in the past, made it and lost it, right? Like a lot of entrepreneurs do. The question I've got for you is, you've raised Cruz in a very non-status quo way. You've raised Cruz to be an entrepreneur, and he's had the front row seat, sitting in the seat with you as that became not so comfortable probably at times. Can you tell me why you were so committed to creating an environment where Cruz could actually learn, free enterprise, he could learn to be a business owner? I think that's important for a lot of people to understand because I know your philosophy. I'd love for you to share that with people.
Well, for me, the most important thing is for him to take responsibility for his actions. And, I didn't grow up like that, and I'm sure, I've heard some of your past and your youth, and, I just didn't think like that. I knew I wanted something different, but I was really confused. So, I wanted him to be able to make his own decisions, but to know that there's consequences when you do make your decisions. So, and I really pounded that into his head. And, a funny story is when we first started, really got our website up, we first started going, we were renting 2 rooms in Riverside. And, we were doing probably $25,000-$30,000 a month in business. We had our website up, and we felt pretty good. But at that point, when you start with nothing, all that money, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not, because all that money has to go back in for inventory, for just a massive amount of growth that you need. And so you really were still, totally broke. You were paying your bills, but totally broke, living in a rented room. And at that point, we needed customer service, phone customer service. And I was like, really, I didn't want to get in office. I didn't want to, I was just really, conservative, because I was living in a car a year before this. So, Cruz said, hey, I'll do it. He's not even quite 14 yet. And he said, I'll do the customer service for you. I said, are you sure that you can do customer service? If you make this commitment, you got to keep this commitment. And, I had meetings, so I had left. The first, we kind of put out for the whole, our whole company, that we had live customer service. So, man, at 9 o'clock that morning, everybody was calling. The phones were lighting up. And within a half an hour of him starting that, I had to leave. And I remember tears were running down his face, and he goes, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I don't like it. Because he had, not even a 14-year-old kid with adults screaming and yelling at him. So it was a learning experience for him. And I said, just hang in there. You need to, you made a commitment. So within 3 days, he started really getting it. And now it's been one of the best experiences of his life. And now he's in front of rooms of 500 people doing presentations. And, I get to sit back and watch this. So, I just think that, he has a lot of good friends. And, he's turned into, it's helped him, the entrepreneurial spirit has helped him become the person he is today. And, someone I'm real proud of. So he puts in his time, and it's not just about money, but, he's I'm teaching him how to, manage his bank accounts, build his credit, put money away for his future, and he has his investments, and, it's kind of a neat thing to watch him develop. But, I think you got to put him on the right path if you can.
Well, that's what, because I know some people will hear this, this call, and they're going to go, oh my God, what a hard ass he was. But you were always there to catch him. I know that. I mean, Cruz has never been alone. And, one of the things I really want to hear from, Cruz, so that was when Cruz was 14. Cruz, how old are you now?
17.
17?
Yeah, 17.
Okay, so we've heard from your dad. And here, this is the no bullshit. I want to hear, tell us the no bullshit, man. What was it like being put into that place where you got a bunch of, again, customer service for any company is not fun with a bunch of pissed off adults. What were you thinking? What was that experience? And you can even expound on your experience with your dad back in literally the homeless days, man. Do you mind kind of sharing a little bit about what's going on and what your thoughts are on about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, my dad had been in the industry for, you know how long, for years and years and years, even when I was really, really little. And I had seen what he had done, just he's making money off building relationships with people, essentially making friends and then helping them do the same and making a good living. So I'm like, I don't really know. I was like, probably like 6 or 7. I'm like, I don't really know what he's doing, but I want to do that. And I can do it from home, and I want to do that. So, we'd have the day at school where everyone writes down what they want to be on the board, blah, 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 blah. And, I wrote, I want to be a network marketer, and everyone, all the kids and all the teachers kind of looked at me sideways and everything. So I'd always kind of been driven to do what he's doing, and I always wanted to kind of contribute and help. So I was about I was about just turned 14, and now I'm at the age where, I think I can start to contribute a little bit. And he was really desperate to get a customer service person because people were hounding him about it. And then, I was just like, well, let me do it. I'll go ahead and do it. And he'd pay me a little bit each week. And I had my little, carry table in my room and had the customer service station set up there. But I didn't even really like to talk to my family on the phone. I was really nervous and anxious on the phone all the time, talking to anybody. But I'm a firm believer that, you got to get out there and you got to talk to people and even get comfortable making yourself look stupid in front of people. And then you'll get more comfortable. But, I just had to suck it up, and I go, Dad, I got to suck it up and do it. I hate it with tears running down my face. I hated it. But now I think it's one of the best things for me, just getting that social interaction and learning how to deal in an adult world. So that's kind of my story with that whole experience.
That's awesome. I just hear you. And the cool thing is I know that there's other entrepreneurs listening to this who, they may have a spouse who just does not buy in. In fact, probably gives some resistance to that other spouse who is creating a business. And, whether it's online, offline, networking, whatever it may be. And it's all fear-based, and I heard that you faced your fear, you went through it. And because of that, doors opened up that, again, you just didn't even know existed. It's changed you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this. So tell me about you. Because I remember talking to your dad back in the day when you guys you didn't have a rented room in somebody's house where you started your company, which I think is so cool. I think it's important for people to get that here's now a company that's doing, can you share do you care to share what your revenues are right now with your company, just the flow?
Well, our gross revenues worldwide, we're in 8 countries. Our gross revenues are up in the high 20s, almost 30 million
monthly.
a year. No, I'm saying yearly, about 30 million. But we're excited about this year. And just like everything, our international expansion has been a real eye opener. I didn't know. I was real ignorant to international business, and I thought we're just going to get some reps in another country and it's going to be great. And no, it's just not that way. So, and like anything, when you do anything, when you start a business, when you just get involved with a company, people got to understand that no one's just going to give you a bunch of money. And, it's going to be hard work. You're just going to you might have to get knocked down. And we talked about this the other day, Troy. There's a lot of haters. They're hating you, Troy, because you're trying to be the best Troy Olds you can be. And people, they're not trying to be the best they can be, and they may hate on you for that. And it's one of those things where you can't care about what anybody thinks at all. You got to care about being the best you can be, and working hard every day and staying focused. And it's hard to stay focused.
I remember one of the calls about 6 months ago. I asked, hey, how's your relationship? And you're like, I'm married to my business. And I know that a lot of people, and I know you and Cruz and we all know that a harmonious, wealthy life is relationships. It's physical, it's mental, spiritual, it's our business. But at some times, and you were really clear about this, that you were on a path. Can you kind of expand on why you don't have a relationship or didn't at that time, and what that took?
Not to get into detail. I was married for 20 years to someone I was with since I was 15, and it was very, very devastating for me. It took me years and years to get over the whole breakup, and I ended up being being a single father when Cruz was 6 till right now. And I date, but I'm very, I can't be running around out there, and it's not fair for me to get involved with someone and say, hey, listen, you come after my son, you come after my business, and you're kind of, my business takes up a lot of my time, and I got to be there, whether it's Saturday, whether it's midnight, whether I have to fly over and be in Africa for 3 weeks. I have to do what I have to do, and at this point, I don't. It's hard for me to put somebody in that position. And believe me, Troy, I'm a little envious of you. You got a great relationship, and it's one of those things where I know it will happen, but I gotta let it happen when it's supposed to happen. So I gotta stay focused, and even for Cruz, and I get something that a lot of other people don't get, because I get to work with my son every day, and that's incredible. It's the most incredible thing, most incredible gift that I think anybody could have, to be able to watch your son every day just become an incredible human being, not just an incredible businessman, but an incredible human being, So I'm lucky on that end.
Blessed without a doubt. And Cruz, you're a good guy, man. And I've got to say, as this whole thing was unfolding and watching from the outside, your journey, your experience, I mean, I remember having my doubts, like, oh my God, what is Cruz going to turn out like? Because even to a degree, I still had so much of a society's idea of how it's supposed to be. And I'm looking in just, man, this is going to be interesting. And to see what's unfolded is, you guys, you were in the tall brush with a machete, chopping stuff down so that other people can see what's possible. And I just, again, I tip my hat to you guys. It's remarkable. And so you're doing $20-30 million a year in your business right now. So let me ask you again, what year were you and Cruz living in your car?
2012, I believe it was.
2012. And just for some clarity, because I know that there's some other guys from marketing perspectives like, hey, come on, honey, we're going from this house to that house, but let's spend a night in the car, and we'll use it as a good marketing story. Can you kind of expound on exactly what that looked like?
Well, it consisted of showering at the gym, which Cruz was a young 13-year-old, and that wasn't something he was comfortable with. But you got to suck it up if you got to shower. So, but what we did, we were at, we'd park in, the hotel parking lots, and we had our internet, and you had our little portable internet, so he'd watch his videos and stuff. So it wasn't like an awful experience for me. I was able to be with my son, and I was focused. I knew where we were going to be 6, 12, 24 months from that point. It was like 3 months that we were in the car, and it wasn't all awful. You know what I mean? We made the best of it, So, and I don't think Cruz, if you ask him today, it wasn't like a terrible experience for him. It was just like we were kind of camping or something, you know what I mean? So we did the best we could. So we made the best of that situation. And when I started selling, we didn't have a website or anything, so I was selling out of the trunk of my car, in parking lots, at trade shows, which I learned a lot of that. I perfected that with you and Mark Warneke, and I owe a lot of those skills to you guys. I could do it, but I really perfected those skills by watching professionals like you and Mark do that kind of thing. So I did the trade shows, the flea markets, in parking lots. I would go into happy hour and walk out of happy hour with $500, and that went towards my website and those type of things. So you kind of really got to be focused and do what it takes to get there, you know.
Well, I love the fact that it's so cool. You would say it. This is what I'm going to do, and then I'd watch you do it. I'm going to do this, and then I'd watch you do it. It was so powerful, man. I love you lead me on it every day. I mean, when I get to see what you're going through, what you've created, and get the rewards of it, and where you're going, you're that guy that you live that. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. If you just put the action in, and you've got that level of discipline that is off the charts, man. And so now I want to, hey, somebody just hopped on who is getting some background noise. Could you please mute your phone? Hey, somebody's on here. I'm gonna have to mute this out. Okay, can you still hear me, Ted and Cruz?
Yeah, I can hear you. I would love to make one more point, you know, with everything.
Yeah, please do.
I think the most important thing, and I know Cruz will tell you this if you ask him, the most important thing is consistency. Like when you go to the gym, you know, Cruz, he started working out a year ago. And after about a couple months, he was like, I'm not getting any results. I said, Cruz, it's only been a couple months. You have got to be consistent for an extended period. And now it's been a year, and now he's all buff, and he's, you know, walking around like he's a stud and everything. So, but like with any kind of entrepreneurial, you know, endeavor, it's going to be, you got to be consistent over an extended period. You can't be consistent for 60 days. It's not going to get you there. You got to be consistent for 24, 36, you know, 3, 4, 5 years. And you got to have a plan, and your plan might change, but you have to have that consistency of effort day in and day out. So important.
Brother, that's powerful. The consistency is key. Well, with that said, and I want to get back to Cruz, and because I know people are like, okay, let's hear Cruz's experience. I want to know what your day looks like. You know, because I know you've got a framework you've shared with me that this happened. This is the ideal. It's sometimes we don't hit it because we have life, but you always go back to that. What your day looks like. Can you describe what a day in the life for Ted and Cruz looks like? Like, what time do you get up? What's the first thing you do? And can you share that with us?
Cruz?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Lay it on us, brother.
Okay, yeah. You want to ask that one more time? Because I think I actually called in at the on the other pin, and then I was muted, so I had to call back with the right pin. So,
got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
so, Cruz, basically, your dad just described consistency, and it's over a long period of time. And I definitely have my own story about that and what it's meant in my life when I finally got that. Can you describe what you – I think you and your dad still are living together, working together, right? I know you're working together.
Yeah.
But you live together. Can you describe what your day looks like? Like the things that you've done, those rituals and disciplines that you guys have incorporated into your life that has made the biggest difference. Describe your day.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we try to go to bed around the same time. You know, fairly early. We wake up at 6 o'clock. We go to the gym every day. Come back, shower. We eat the same meal. We try to eat healthy. You know, like eggs, a few eggs, avocado. Maybe some carne asada, and then you know, we go to work for like 6-7 hours, and just, you know, all of our offices are really close by each other, so we're really you know, on it and communicating really well. I mean, we're just really consistent every day. Our days are basically the same every time. You know, just to be able to accomplish our end goals.
And Troy, let me tell you one thing about Cruz. There has been times where I had to go away for 2 weeks to Africa to set stuff up. This guy Ubered his way into work every day, and he ran the office at 16 years old. So I can't say enough about him.
I think that is so cool. Well, you guys, I know that, and when people, hopefully, I'm sure if anybody's out there in this life, regardless of what the business is, they'll end up meeting you at either a Tony event or some type of a leadership event. And they'll understand that, I mean, you guys are, you know, you're wired. but it was by design. It was out of necessity. You chose to create these levels of disciplines that have made all the difference, man. And again, I learn from you all the time because I know that consistency is key. So when you get up, you go to the gym, you have a great breakfast, and you crank it out for 6 hours. I want to know what time you guys go to bed.
Probably around like 10:30.
I go to bed a little earlier than he does, but
so do I.
About 9. Yeah, 9.
We're the over
9,
40
9:30.
crew, man.
Yeah. You know, we gotta get our fuel up. But you know, one of the things, Troy, is you feel the same way, and you were like, I want to start something of my own, and I can relate to that because, you know, I mean, I want to provide the best products, you know, for people. I want to be able to touch people's lives financially. I want to be able to help people. Granted, I want to get money out of the way as an issue, and that's really, really important for me to not have to worry about money. But I really want to be able to touch people's lives. I want to be able to help people. I just think you need the best products out there, and you need to be able to make it so the little guy can win, not just the big guy. You know, I try to set my company up and my comp plan so the little guy can win. And if you get a millions of little guys winning, you know, there's just a lot of people making money. And like we've had talks about, I don't have a ton of huge leaders in my company, but I have a lot of little guys coming in and making money. And I think that's the key to long-term success in this industry.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. I know that you and I have had, we started somewhere, and we were the guys who, well, I'll speak for myself. When I got into this the business of entrepreneurialism, when things didn't work out well, and again, that was the school of hard knocks. I didn't have an entrepreneur dad. He was a self-employed guy, but it's completely different. And so it was learning, failing forward, and part of that process was, wow, it's that guy's fault, or it's the company's fault, or it's the product's fault.
Right.
And you and I both know that's a painful experience, but we also know that that's where a person's at. And it's a necessary part of the process, and leadership is about being able to handle that and guide those individuals so they can continue to ascend into that place of leadership and their capacity to handle other brand new people who are not personally taking responsibility for their life and their choices, understanding that it's not anybody else, it's them. And what's that been like for you? Because you own a company of lots and lots of people. And that's a lot, man. What's that been like, dealing with all those different people from different parts of the journey?
You know, I've had to learn, you know, you come into it and you think you have everything, you know, you think you pretty much got it under control, you know what's going on, but you know what, you just learn something new all the time. And you know, even then you think you get things kind of wired in the United States, and you feel like, and then you go off to other cultures, and it's a whole nother deal, man. I mean, it's just we're all the same, but we have different mannerisms, and everybody feels different and they have different thoughts. So it's really been a life-changing experience to be, you know, down in Colombia and Panama and Honduras and Ghana and Nigeria and South Africa. And, you know, to just see these different cultures, and, you know, everybody's different. Everybody has different needs. And, of course, you want to meet people's needs, but you also have to make those hard decisions for what's best for the company, because not just best for the company, but you want to make sure the company's here long term, so that if someone like Troy Olds is in here and he's making $20,000, $30,000 a month, that money's not going to go away. You want to make sure that, you know, my goal, and, you know, I'm still working on it, is to make sure that they have real long-term residual income, you know, 30, 40, 50 years from now. You know, of course, I would like to be retired, you know, in the next 8 to 10 years and have Cruz running the whole thing, and I could be on the beach somewhere, you know, that's the goal, is to make sure that people's, you know, protect their residual income. And, you know, as a distributor, everything seems easier than it actually is. So I have a whole different perspective on things, actually owning the company. You know, I am somewhat conservative because I have started from my car. So I'm a little bit more conservative with things. I don't have way more employees than I need. I try to make sure that there's more money going into the field than going into the offices, you know, and we have to have enough people to handle We want people to get products in 2 to 3 days. We want to make sure people get paid right away. But, we don't want to have a bloated staff where, we're paying a bunch of people and there's not as much money in the field. I'd rather have the money out in the field. So,
well,
it's
it
a learning
sounds like
experience.
your priorities are right with the company. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and talk about what I want to talk about what your company is, what it's in, it's your mission statement and why. And then I want to go back, man. I want to go back and I want you to share that you are a personal trainer, you were in the gym, your early entrepreneurial life, and then open it up for some. I know we've got some folks here that may have some questions, and open it up. So can you tell me what is Healthy Habits Global? Why network marketing? And why not something else? Because I know you've owned multiple businesses. And then let's go back into your early entrepreneurial place, and we can wrap it up. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy Habits Global is a nutrition company. Of course, we're multi-level marketing, and the reason is for multi-level marketing. I just believe in it. I believe that there's tougher deals and there's easier deals and there's all kinds of deals out there, and there's deals for different people, of course, and I try to have Healthy Habits Global be the best deal for everybody that I could possibly, have, but it may not be for everybody because everybody's looking for something different, so we just want to make sure that we represent, an ethical company that has the most incredible products, and we make sure that the little guy can win, because I think some of these companies are set up more for, big leader to come in and make a lot of the money. So, and that's pretty much why I set up Healthy Habits Global. But really the real reason for why I really fell in love with MLM is I started back, I was 19 years old selling pizzas. I was a pizza delivery guy, but I made real good money for a young kid in the mid to late 80s. And then I bought this corner store, and I put pizza ovens in and fryers, and it was a small college town. And, I made $1 million, my first year and a half. And I was like about 21, 22 at the time. And I thought, I was the smartest. I thought I was the smartest person on the planet. I was 22. And then I opened up this real fancy restaurant in my town because, I was 22. I made $1 million. I could do no wrong. So, but I consulted with a lot of business guys around town. They were like, don't open up a restaurant. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work in this town. It's a small town in upstate New York. So, of course, I didn't listen to them because I was smarter. And I opened up a restaurant, and within a year and a half, I was bankrupt. So that was my first lesson in humility. And then I opened up a gym, and I did different things. But one thing I learned is that, like, if you have to, I didn't like to sit and wait for people. I like to be able to be in a situation where I could go out and find people that wanted an opportunity, not just, sit there and do local advertising in a small local area, and that didn't work for me. Even though I could make some money, but I could only be there was a ceiling on how much I could make, even being an entrepreneur and owning my own business in a small town in upstate New York. Because the demographics, there's only so many people that can come in your business. So I like MLM because you can reach out worldwide, and you can go and find people that want an opportunity, that are hungry. People like myself, like Troy. Like, I met Troy Olds through network marketing, and we've been friends for 14 years, 15 years. And you know what I mean? I have so many friends, incredible friends, people with the same mindset as me that I found through multi-level marketing. So there's so much good that can come out of it. And, I really do believe in it. So.
I love it. I think it's awesome, your story. And, that's like for folks who are asking the question, is like, is Troy part of the company? No, I'm not part of Ted's company on paper, per se. I am part of the company in spirit, although one of the things because I did shift gears from network marketing and here's why. I have probably 5 different network marketing companies' products in my cupboards. About fell over my chair in my cupboards because they're great products, and some of my friends own the company, and But what happened is I had a string of, and some people may relate to this, companies that didn't produce, went away, or flat out had shyster liars at the top of the company. And, I'm not against anything. I'm for people being straight up. And Ted and I had an experience together with a company that was just crazy. And it hurts people. And so finally, after putting all my chips into one company that didn't launch, I decided I'm not going to put my personal life and my children's life and my legacy future in the hands of somebody else whose values and intentions are not mine. If I'm going to fail, it's going to be because of me. And so I started creating and am continuing to grow my own coaching company, which is expanding. And in that process, that's where Ted and I started talking again, because I know his commitment to true high quality is there are people there. I want to be in business with people that are aligned with my values and I love and trust, that we will have a relationship after we fight. Because if you're in a relationship, whether it's a intimate or a business relationship, you better find out quickly who the people are that you're willing to work through the challenges with. Because that's just the way it is. We don't get to play the game of being a baby. When you hurt my feelings, I'm done, and I'm going to crush you. That is level one. That's level one. So when you get to this place, you start defining who it is that you are personally, what you put your feet on the floor, what turns you on, and then finding those other individuals who are aligned with that. And that's what TedCruz and their company is for me, is, with my coaching company, and we'll figure out a way that we can play not only in personal friendship, but also in business, because Ted will attest and said it. And I told my friends, if our kids don't play sports together or we don't work in business together, I probably won't see you much. Not that I don't love you. It's just we're busy people. And so I choose to figure out a way that we can play. I get to bring some of my skill sets to that company, to TedCruz's company, and vice versa. But I just want to be clear. I'm not promoting the company. Hell, I'd have to promote 6. This is just a brilliant company. If there is someone out there who's looking for a great company with great products, with no BS people, then Healthy Habits is, without a doubt, that company. And here's the thing. If you're easily offended, don't join. Because I know that Ted and Cruz have a company that they're committed and love the people in their team enough to tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes what you need to hear is going to hurt your feelings. And so get thick-skinned quick if you want to go where these guys have gone, and then just go do the work. They'll show you exactly how to do this to become successful. So anyway, that's my rant, and also a real passion, because I know there are so many people out there, and I want to hand this back over to you, Ted, in your experience. There's so many people out there who are still so bought in to a bullshit lie about how it works. My 15-year-old son is being hammered by society and commercials and a mom and family members. Go to school, son. Go to school. He's like, I don't even know what I want to do. And so people will say, well, just go get your basic credits out of the way while you're at college. Well, that's the first chain, the first link around the ankle, because you're going to show up on campus, you're going to get a Frisbee to fill out a form for a credit card, and you're going to get it, $500. And they're going to max it out on beer, and they're going to get another card. They're going to pay $250 for a book. Tell me that's not a racket. And then the majority of people are going to leave college, can't get a job, and have debt. That's where it begins. And that's one of the conversations Ted and I have that are super heated and passionate. Can you kind of talk about giving your take on that, Ted?
I would never say that, college can be good, but not for my son. If he wanted to go to college, kids get to a point where you gotta, if you raise them right, you let them make their right decisions. You let them make their decisions. Whether it be in religion or it be in business. For me, like Cruz, he has more money in his bank account than most adults. He's just a responsible guy. He knows the value of great credit. He's learned all this stuff, and he didn't. After 11, I homeschooled him, and he was going to school online because I had to drag him around to all my meetings, and I had to drag him here and across the country here, and I couldn't just be there to pack his lunch and and take him to school because I was a single dad and I didn't have any help from any family or anything. It was just me and him. So, and I just watched him develop the skills. And as I told him that, I couldn't just, when he was in school, he needed to, take responsibility and make sure the work was done because I didn't have, life was not easy. So please don't make it harder on me. Just make sure you do your work. And he did his work and he developed and I saw him develop on the business end. And, I just think that like, if you teach them the core values of, of being a good person and taking responsibility for their actions and, thinking before they actually make a decision, I just think that, the kids will they'll find their way.
I love that. That's great. Great answer. And that's the thing that, even I want to clarify is that it's not I'm not talking about kids who know, they know. I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a surgeon. I'm going to be, anything but an entrepreneur. To go to school to be a business owner and entrepreneur, it's a huge waste of time, I believe. It's my opinion for kids to go to college for that, because that's something that you learn in the streets like you and I have done and like Cruz has done. Now, again, if they're going to they've got to be specialized in a specific, they know what they want. I think it's great. But what I do see is that system has produced, on the other end, a lot of people who are like this. Let's call it like it is. I've got a 15-year-old son who's an entrepreneur genius who I've been doing my best to show entrepreneurialism and possibility and open that door for him to make that decision. But show him what's possible, more and more options and opportunities so that he can then choose. Whereas it's just, instead of just college. And if it's college, I've told him this. If you want to go to school, son, because you know what you want to do, man, I'm going to pay for it. I'm your biggest supporter. But if you don't, you can count me out, man. Right? And on the other end of that spectrum, I've got a 71-year-old father who I love, and I had the blessing to get to work with in the construction industry. He had the largest concrete and masonry company in Alaska for a time in the 90s in Anchorage, Alaska. And he's made millions. And my dad, Ted, he's a good man.
I met you through him.
Right? That's right. And I love my dad. He's got such a huge heart. He's earned millions, shitty with money, and is scared to death. He doesn't know. He's still out in construction working every single day. And so that's and I know he's not alone. I mean, you and I are on the front lines of people who are just like, oh, what happened? I was told it was going to be okay. It's not okay, because the way things are designed is not for us to flourish and be great, and ride off into the sunset. I mean, too many of our parents are ending up in retirement homes with their head cocked over sideways, drooling because they bought into a system. And I know people are like, oh, my God, he's dramatic. Yeah, I'm being dramatic. But the reality is that's what's happening. The majority of people will not retire today. And it's in our generation. So everybody who listens to this is going to get very clear that that's what's coming. And then I'll look like Nostradamus, in 10, 15 years. So you guys, what you're doing and just sharing your no BS story about what it takes, I want to get more people excited about, let's go down that path. Sell shit you don't need. Sell it. Give it away. Pare down to the things that are the essentials and that make your life juicy, right? That encourage you to follow your life's bliss, not somebody else's. Don't forego the next 40 years of your life for some bullshit story to go earn a living, to get a mortgage, to then finally retire, and then you can live your dream. It doesn't work. The verdict's in. It was a lie. Okay, so that's where people like you and Cruz and other entrepreneurs that I get to talk with in and out of networking, just people who just go for it, they are my heroes, because I know that there's a lot of us who married someone who was very much bought into that system, who are not supportive of entrepreneurialism and what it takes to become. Some of us were not born into entrepreneurial guru mentor homes. We had to figure this stuff out, and it's hard. And I tell you what, the people who make through it, they are a different breed. They're walking in thin air, and that's why I always tell people, we're bees, man. What kind of bees? The bee from No Rain from Blind Melon. Watch that video after you hop off of this call, and you'll know what I'm talking about. You feel alone until you find people, your people. And Ted and Ted, you guys are my people. So I know you got something to follow up with on that, brother.
You know, I came from an incredible father that was just worked for New York State, and he couldn't show me these things, and that's why I worked so hard to show my son, you know, so he didn't have to make all the mistakes, because it took me 25, 30 years to figure this stuff out, you know. So you go through those hard knocks, but like you said, Troy, you know, like when you get through it, you're a different person, and you value where you came from. So,
agreed. Cruz, you still on, brother?
Yes.
All right, give us some takes on that. And here's the thing I always do. I don't apologize for being that outgoing, outspoken guy. I've got business coaches who they see what I post on Facebook and they're like, "Oh my God, you're going to ruin your brand." So what are you talking about? That is my brand. If I don't show, you know, and people are like, "Well, you could professional it up a little bit." Well, here's what I know. I've been around long enough that the guys behind the podium, the guys up on stage, they all have a life that they're not showing you. And I would rather show people that we're all in this together. We all came in bare butt, wet and screaming. The only thing that made us different was our experience. And then we had to start questioning our beliefs about, why do I believe that? Is that even my belief? Is that even my thought? And when I realized, no, the majority weren't, then I had the opportunity to make different choices and investigate. And so I'm a curious guy, and I'm diversified. I always say I'm an artist who happens to love business. Why? Because it's an art putting the right people together. And I will only work with sweet, kick-ass people. So that's where I'm at with that. And so again, and that's what I encourage everyone to do, is the people who are going to flourish in this new economy are the people who are going to get into that. Here again, we'll lose some folks who are offended, the no bullshit, authentic, and vulnerable side of themselves. Because the more often we let people see in, the better and more clearly we can see out. And these kinds of people thinking and promoting and stating that they are something other than a human being are over. They're gone. And so I'm grateful to be a part of this. And I like to rock the boat. I like to be polarizing. Because here's the thing, again, I'll close my rant with this. I deeply care, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit anymore what people think. Because I've been, that's part of the trap, is people telling us that we've got to live up to other people's standards. So, Cruz, you're a unique guy. Tell us about you.
About me? Well, so to kind of go off what you're saying there too. I mean, like my grandpa, he worked for the state and everything, and he got his Social Security and pension and everything, and it's just that's a form of residual income, and that's not highly available today. So I think network marketing, in my opinion, is one way to do that. And to successfully retire, you do need a residual income, regardless of where it's from. And it's just not easy. It's not easy to access nowadays.
Well, that brings me to another part of what I was told and then I investigated. Most people don't take the time to understand is we're all enamored by millionaires. Oh, that guy's a millionaire. What folks don't realize is that you've got to be a millionaire today. To maintain the same standard of living, you've got to be. And most people aren't. And that's, again, the point of what we're talking about is most people will never retire because the devaluing dollar doesn't buy as much. People are earning the same amount of money today as they were 10 years ago, essentially. And so with the cost of everything being more, it's a challenge. And so I think that's where we are starting to shift the thinking of that's the new benchmark. You've got to be a millionaire, and here's how. And there's options. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any closing thoughts, my friends, as we go? Ted, and I know we jump on these calls and we tone it down a little bit for the masses of folks, but I love the fact, I'm really grateful that you guys are real people who aren't afraid to share and show who you are, the human side of yourselves, because that's why I truly believe that you're willing to go first into the trenches, into the tall brush with a machete and go first is why your company is flourishing. And so can you share, your favorite book, favorite next steps for folks? What are the key things that you can suggest for folks that would make the biggest difference in their life as we hop off?
Well, one of my favorite books
for a couple questions. We still have some folks here. Go ahead.
Okay, one of my favorite books is The Slightest Edge. Because I like it. I just think truly it's the slightest edge is either working in your favor or it's working against you. Because if you're doing those negative things, they start to compile up. If you start to do positive things every day, and I kind of lived that. Every day I did something towards my goal, maybe multiple things, but I might not have seen the benefits for 12 months from my efforts, but I was willing to continue going down that path and doing those positive things every day, and not like whatever it could be, drinking and driving or overspending or doing. Money was coming in for the business, quite a bit of money at times. 10, 15, 20,000. It's not a lot, but it was a lot for me at the time because I went from living in my car. Even when $25,000 a month was coming in, I couldn't spend any of that money. Not any money. Maybe I could split a cheeseburger with my son down at Baker's once a month because I put all that money in. I wanted that slightest edge to work in my favor. I wanted to compile up all those positive things that I was doing every day, and it I'm telling you, it just works. And if I can do it, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo, and you know me for 15 years, Troy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. It's just consistency of effort and focus. If you can, and you can will anything to happen, whether it be in the gym and transform your body, or make millions and millions and millions of dollars, or whatever you want it to be. I mean, if you focus and have that consistency of effort, and make sure the slightest edge is working in your favor.
Brother, that's good. That's good coaching right there. Cruz, how about you, bud?
Well, it actually happens to be my favorite book as well. I also like The Secret. It's just anything that kind of helps teach a consistent mindset, and then being grateful for life and enjoying the small things and being consistent. Because even when we were living in the car, it wasn't bad at all because we're not down and out. It's part of our goal, and it was just we didn't have to do it for. We knew it was only to get to where we needed to go. It wasn't a permanent thing. And so, and you end up enjoying the struggles, and then you enjoy life overall because, it's all just a part of the game essentially. So, yeah, that's kind of my point.
Well, Drew, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I think you just really legitimately nailed it. Is when people are on this path, what happens is too many people, they don't fail enough. They fail to the point and they think it's not going to work and they quit. When the reality is you fail forward enough, you realize that those experiences that you thought were going to be forever were just a page. You've got to fail forward and realize that it's part of that process. And
absolutely,
you start to, right? Don't you? You start to identify patterns in the past. You look back and you keep going. You identify what worked, what didn't work. You didn't die. I remember the first time I got my butt handed to me financially. I was scared. I thought they would put me in jail for being broke. I really did. I thought, I'm going to go to jail. I'm broke. I hadn't hurt anybody. I hadn't screwed anybody over. I just thought I was going to go to jail because I was broke. And then I realized, oh, my God, all the friends that I had when I was earning a lot of money are gone. That's interesting. I didn't go to jail.
That's always interesting, isn't it?
Always interesting. I mean, I had best friends that, yeah, fascinating. It's through that process I started to really get this philosophy, my own personal philosophy of question everything. How do you know that? Why do you say that? And I say that of myself and realize that this whole thing's made up. Why not make up our own lives? And that's what I've heard you guys say is you constantly said, this is where I'm going, and you've lived it. And you've enjoyed, although in the challenging and sometimes uncomfortable experience, you knew you weren't going to stay there. You knew it was going to be different the next day and enjoyed every now instead of if, then, when, then I'll be. No, it's now. And so wrap it up, boys. Give us some closing parting thoughts, and we'll wrap the call, and we'll get back after it.
Well, I just want to Thank you, Troy, for kind of. It's always nice to relive some of the last 4 years, and I don't do it enough. So I appreciate you bringing me on the call and kind of letting me reminisce about where we were and how far we've come over the last 4 years. So I appreciate your friendship and everything that I've learned from you over the 15 years we've known each other.
Well, likewise, my friend. It's been a blessing, and it's fascinating who we continue to walk with, to stay on the path, and I feel really blessed to get to call you and Cruz my friends and to be a part of it. And we've got those Wyoming friends. We call them Wyoming friends in Idaho. What's a Wyoming friend? And I don't have but a handful, literally. It's those people who would call you from maybe jail, from a wild night in Wyoming. You drive down and get them, and then you talk about it on the way back. And I'm grateful for those folks. And as people go down this path, they stay on the journey, they're going to get really clear who their Wyoming friends are. So thank you guys so much. And I'll put out some notes on this, and anybody who wants to reach you and find you, where can they find you? Facebook, websites, lay it on us.
They can find me on Facebook. I'm always available, so you can put out my number. I'm pretty much available to everybody at all times. So I love what I do. So if somebody wants to just talk, you can put out my number. That's fine as well.
Awesome. And Cruz, where are you on Facebook?
Yeah, you can just look up my name on Facebook, and you can also just reach me through my phone as well.
Awesome. And what's the website, guys? The one that brilliant.
Healthyhabitsglobal.com.
Okay, and they can also reach you some way through that as well, right?
Absolutely. You can send a message through that. I definitely recommend, if it was something that you were, if you looked at the website and it was something that you were contemplating, contact me personally and just get the lowdown, man. Just get your questions answered. I always tell people that, don't just jump in, know what you're jumping into, know who you're working with, and, you can't go wrong.
I love it. Well, guys, thanks again for taking time out. You have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll circle back around on some other conversations. Thanks again, everybody, for listening in on this call. And leave some notes. Let us know what you thought of it. And everybody have a great weekend. Happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Happy holidays. Thanks so much, Troy.